Okay, so you're looking to buy a house, right? And you're writing offers, but they're not getting accepted. I know that could be very frustrating, and you're probably wondering, how are buyers actually writing offers that are winning and getting accepted while still getting a good deal? And what I want to do in this video is go over how I've been able to actually help my own buyers not only get their offers accepted, but also get great deals, especially in this current market here in Orange County. And I mean, even if you're going up against all cash offers, there's ways that you could still get that offer accepted, as I did earlier this year. So I want to go ahead and deep dive into that because, well, I'm going to reflect on my personal experience. These are all things that your agent should be doing as well. Section 1 is so simple that you might question why I even included it, but I can't tell you how important this is, and that's that presentation absolutely matters. I cannot tell you how important it is to make sure that all of your documentation, especially when your agent is submitting your offer, from the documents to the RPA or lease agreements or whatever application that you're submitting, whether it's a lease or a purchase, but nonetheless, making sure that everything is properly organized in one email where it's not only convenient for that listing agent to receive, but it makes their job easier to be able to present it to their client, which is the seller, or in some cases, the landlord. And I can't tell you how many times that I've been representing landlords, for instance, and we've received applications with zero context at all and incomplete documentation. And it's like, if you're an agent and you're representing your clients, you want to get them the best deal, but you also want to get that deal accepted, because if you do, obviously you win as well, right? Why would you not take the effort to make sure that everything is properly organized? And why would you not provide any context to who your clients are and why they're a great fit for this property, while outlining what's included in your offer and what is actually included with the documentation? So it makes a huge difference to have everything properly organized in a way where, again, it makes it easy for the listing agent to pass that along to their client, the seller or landlord, and actually review it with them, because it's going to allow you to stand out. So right off the bat, make sure that everything is properly presented and organized. And if you're working with an agent, they have to be very careful, because there's things that they can and cannot do with fair housing laws. And with that being said, there's ways that you could still tap and tug on the emotional strings, because let's face it, buying a property is an emotional process, and there's a way to properly present it while still being compliant within essentially what agents can and cannot do, but still allowing your clients to have an edge over other applications or offers that they might have received just because of the way that it's presented and sent over to the listing agents. Section 2 is going to be about strategic relationships and about timing, because there's a couple of things that I want to go over with timing, as far as how agents are able to have an edge over the public, as far as being able to get properties off market or coming soon, as I did for my tenant, and I want to share that in a second. But the relationships in residential real estate, the industry is all about relationships, and it's a very small community, which is very important. So there's often a myth that buyers think that they need to go directly with the listing agents. And if you have a great listing agent, sure, but their client is still the seller, and their loyalty is going to be more with the seller. So if you're in a situation where you need to negotiate during escrow, because again, I'm going to do another video where that basically breaks down the 3 different stages that you could actually negotiate price in residential real estate when purchasing a property. So if the listing agent is also your agent, do they really have your best interest at heart? And what would the consequence be if there's a negotiation that needs to be had? Would they really be fighting for your best interests? And that's always the question that I always have anyways. But point being is, the relationships are a huge aspect of it. So from the very get-go, I get in touch with the listing agents. I respectfully and properly introduce myself and start building rapport with them. I ask the key questions to showcase that, hey, I'm a savvy agent. I know what I'm doing. At the same time, I want to work with you to be able to get this deal done. So if you choose my client and our offer, you're going to have not only a client who's great and able to perform, because I only work with good clients. That is a big thing. I only work with good clients. But on top of that, you're going to have an agent who is working 24/7, who is going to be on top of it to make sure that everything gets done, so that way we get across the finish line. But that does not mean I'm not going to be fighting for my client's best interest. But let's face it, If you're a listing agent and you have a property for sale and you have a great offer, why would you not want to work together with that agent to be able to have a smooth transaction from start to finish for both your client, the seller, and the buyer? You do. And that's why the relationship aspect is so important. For instance, earlier this year on Valentine's Day, I closed on a property and it was an all cash buyer that we're competing with, and my buyers were not all cash, and we still got that offer accepted, especially because not only were my buyers performing like that, which is great, but I was able to establish great rapport with the listing agents, and he was able to really sell my clients as the ideal clients to a seller. And I mean, we had a huge edge. And it wasn't like they were a higher price, we were head to head, they were just all cash. And we got the job done, you know? So that relationship with the other party really does matter, and how you're represented from start to finish definitely matters too, especially because that agent, again, they want to work with an agent who they're going to have a good, smooth escrow, not an agent who's going to be a pain in the ass and just a jerk throughout the entire process, because that's never fun to work with. But there's a property here in Corona del Mar. It was for a lease. Essentially, I had tenants and there was very, very limited inventory, literally nothing within the price range that they were looking for and the bedrooms that they needed. And this property, that's is one of the perks of working with an agent. So I was looking at coming soon, which the public did not have access to. So literally the seconds this property hit the coming soon phase, I was able to reach out to the listing agent, who is also the owner and is also an attorney, but I was able to start building rapport right away before anyone else even saw it. So I was one of the I was the first person to reach out about the property, and they had other inquiries already from people who knew the property before it was even coming soon. But on top of that, I gave my tenants a huge edge because I was able to start just building that rapport, and I had everything properly organized. So even though it was coming soon, my clients were in New York, I was able to get the agent and the listing agents over every document that he needed to be able to review, and was able to provide the proper clear context to why my tenants were ideal and their future goals as far as where they're planning to be as far as long-term tenants, and basically just more about them as a whole. But anyways, point being is, before this property even moved into an active status, I was able to go and get them in right away. We were the first people to seed the property once the tenants actually moved out, and we got acceptance literally the same day of touring it. So when you have an agent that's able to just see properties before the public's able to see it, of course, that also gives you a huge edge on the timing aspect, but then pair that with the relationship, you just have a huge, huge advantage over other buyers or tenants in that scenario. And that's why your relationships and the timing is also very crucial to getting your offer accepted and essentially beating out competition at times. Section 4 is really more emotional, data-driven storytelling. And what I mean by that is sometimes it's not just about the number, right? Sometimes it's a lot deeper than that. For instance, I had the privilege of working with an amazing buyer. We just secured a property for her in Huntington Beach, and she's a content creator and a big YouTuber. So she needed the perfect property, not only for security, she needed essentially a property that had various different lighting, the proper bedrooms, the space, everything else to be able to do what she does for a living. And not only did we find the property, but we were able to beat out other offers and secure it for a great price. I mean, we got it for $265 and it appraised for $2,800,000. So she automatically had built up equity right off the bat, but she couldn't be any happier for the property. And she just did a YouTube video, and it's pretty cool to be able to see a property after spending a year together, looking at many homes, to find the perfect property and knowing that you found it, but also were able to beat out other offers that they had, get a great price, and also secure the deal for your clients. And that's exactly what I was able to do. And again, it came down to the way that the offer was presented, but it also came down to the relationships that I was able, or the relationship that I was able to build with the listing agent. In addition to that, we were able to really tap into the emotional side of things, because I got the full context to where the seller was, why they were selling, how special this house was to them, the family memories. They wanted it to go to a buyer who was really going to cherish the same things that they cherished about the properties because they were original owners. So if you've lived in this property and you're original owner and you've grew up with, and your kids grew up here, it's a very emotional aspect, especially when you don't want to sell, but it makes sense to sell just because of certain factors that were in play. And because of the fact that I was able to not only present the offer, but because of the fact that I was able to get my clients to meet the listing agent who was able to really relay who my clients were and why they were the ideal buyer for the property to the seller, which obviously gave us an emotional advantage over other buyers, which ultimately helped us secure the deal for a great price. And so how you present it absolutely matters. It's not just about the number, especially when you're dealing with sellers that they don't need to sell. They're not in a situation where they're financially struggling or they are in a rush to sell or whatever it might be. So they're gonna take their time and they wanna make sure they select the right buyer. So you could see why it's crucial from the presentation to the relationships to the timing, and also making sure that your agent has the full picture to what the situation actually is, so you know what strings to pull. Definitely gives buyers an advantage to get their offer accepted over other offers. And then of course you want to make sure that your agent is able to negotiate for you, and that is one of the biggest aspects. So I'm currently in escrow on a property, and I mean, it was a crazy back and forth negotiation, and my buyers were concerned that we overpaid. So I did a video that is specifically just for them that basically broke down everything from the active inventory nearby, the closed inventory nearby, the active and withdrawn inventory for that community specifically, and then everything that closed up to August in that community, which was the last most recent sale. So that way we were able to get the full picture. I was able to break down what the year-over-year appreciation was. I was able to then also break down what the average price per square foot for our purchase price that we were at or going to be at versus what the community or nearby area was, which gave a full picture that, hey, even though it's a little bit higher than what we wanted to pay for this property, you're still getting a fantastic deal when we look at the average price per square foot, especially for a house of this size. So that's something that I do for my buyers to go the extra mile. So when they make an offer and we get countered, they have complete confidence in the price that they might come up to, or essentially having confidence that it doesn't make sense to go up any further, because I like to use data to make decisions, not emotions, especially in a process that is already extremely emotional. So if you're looking to buy and you're tired of not having your offer accepted, or you just don't want to go through the process of making an offer and then not having it be accepted, and you're about to look for a property, go ahead and reach out to me directly. I would love to be able to help you. Even if you're not buying in Orange County, I have a global network of agents who are great through Berkshire Hathaway that I'm able to vet on your behalf. So regardless of where you're looking to buy, reach out to me. I would love to help you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.